Welcome to the Leadership Insight with me, Dr. Dennis V. Burke. Let's talk about the willingness and the ability to learn, because learning gets us, each of us, to the place where we can execute on the things that we determine are important in our lives. If you are unable to learn, unwilling to learn, or do not understand how to learn, then grasping new concepts, moving yourself from point A to point B and achieving new outcome is virtually impossible. I would argue that learning or understanding how to learn is probably one of the most significant things that you can accomplish in your growth and quest for personal success. So what does that mean? What does understanding how to learn mean? Let's deconstruct the concept of team building or organizational culture. So I've looked at organizational culture, and when you assess the folks who are within an organization, they typically fall within two distinct camps when we question the effectiveness of the existing culture. They are either reactive or proactive. All right, so proactive people are the people who are mature enough and understand that they have a direct role in what's happening in the organization, regardless of whether it meets the ideal or not. They believe that they have direct responsibility and accountability to deliver on the expected standard. So if things are not measuring up, they will engage at the level where they can make a difference, and they work within their circle of influence in an effort to increase that circle so they can actually effectively impact the broader organization in the long run. Reactive people, on the other hand, they are, as the word says, reactive. They look at what's happening and they look at things that don't measure up to their paradigm of the quote unquote standard. And instead of taking accountability or responsibility at a personal level, they point the finger externally and say, other people are not delivering. Now, here's what I know, what I've understood, and what I've learned about organizational culture. Organizational culture it develops around the concept of team, right? Let me say that again, team, around the concept of team. Being an independent performer is just a starting point in organizational effectiveness, in developing the ideal culture, or in team building. The ability to work independently means that you can perform your specific job responsibility. But people who are mature, emotionally mature, culturally sensitive, and relationally intelligent understand that we live in an interdependent society and that we must work together to produce more, right? A cord of one strand is weaker than a cord of multiple strand. The more strand that we put in a cord or in a rope, the stronger it becomes. So when we look out in the landscape, we determine that a team is required to get to some mission, vision, mission or objective, and to promote some specific vision. We are the people, the group who have decided that the team is important, can voluntarily commit around a specific set of values, and they can work to create a cohesive team to get to the effectiveness in the performance and to deliver on the results. Other times teams form naturally, right? People are in an organization and they just naturally come together and a team forms. Now, for this team to happen, a team to form naturally, the people who are on the team are enough people, a majority of the people will have to share a common set of core values, and they seem to just coalesce around the core values. But in most instances, the team doesn't just form naturally. It has to be manufactured, it has to be created, it has to be developed. And in this instance, this is where we say you must learn how to learn. People must understand the process of learning so that they don't despair when things don't go as smoothly as they think. Specifically, reactive people who, when things aren't going the way, what they want to do is point the finger and they want to jump ship and they start all over again. So once we have determined that we need a team, right? Remember, interdependent reality. Essentially, in any organization, we must have teams to work effectively. So we decide that, okay, we're here together. We need to have a team. We establish a set of core values. We might not share them currently, but we establish a set of core values that we determine this is what we want to use as our reference point. This is what we're going to use to launch ourselves into a new and much better future. We decide on our core values, right? That's the first step. Then we commit to upholding, to living those values. And once we commit, we work through them and we resolve that regardless of what happened, we're going to hold ourselves accountable and we're going to hold each other accountable. And we're going to allow ourselves to be vulnerable enough so that we can get critical feedback when we march through to achieving our core values. Now, here's the key in teams. Teams follow, the development of team follow this process. The teams form, they storm, they norm, and then they perform. Let me go that again. When we create teams, when we decide we're going to create a team or we're creating teams, the steps, the learning, if you understand how to learn, you also understand that when in the development of teams, these are the steps that we can psychologically measure and define. First, the team form. We determine who and what, who will be on the team, the composition of the team, the number of people, and the role that they're in. Then, so we say the team forms. We form the team. Then this team storm. They have to work through the quirks. They have to work through the uncomfortable steps of learning each other, understanding each other, building trust, sharing respect, and holding each other accountable. And once they get comfortable working together, we say the team norm, right? Norm. They establish what the normal working framework will look like, and they're working in what appears to as a team normal existence. So the team form, the team storm, the team norm, and then they perform. Once they've established the working framework, they understand each other, then the team members are able to perform at the speed of trust. Why this is important? Because if you understand how to learn, and when you understand how we learn, then people will be more open to work through the storming. They will understand that somewhere on the other side, there is the opportunity to norm and to perform. Therefore, they are open to accepting critical feedback, to providing critical feedback, and most importantly, to work very quickly, as quickly as possible through these phases so that when we get to the other side, they can deliver on massive results. Thank you for listening. Go forth, do good work. I'm Dr. Dennis V. Burke, and I look forward to seeing you in future episode of the Leadership Insights.